Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, is a very important character in the world of Ice and Fire. He is the reason the story is in the current state that it is. But while thinking about his story, and really, who has a better story than Littlefinger, right? I found that he shares many similarities with an American historical figure, a founding father of the US, and that is Alexander Hamilton. But let's look at the similarities between the two. Both of them start from the bottom of the barrel. Hamilton is born out of wedlock in the Caribbean, and this would make him a bastard in the world of Ice and Fire, and technically in a sense in our world too. Littlefinger starts off a little better, but not by much. His great-grandfather was a Braavosi who left for the Vale to be a sellsword. This great-grandfather would be knighted. Baelish's grandfather would later on also become a knight, and he would take the head of the Titan of Braavos as his sigil. House Baelish would then become the smallest of the small lords of the Vale. So Littlefinger fares better in this aspect, but not by much. Again, it's still scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the lottery of being birthed, or born, whatever. Both of them would leave their homeland and move to a better place. Hamilton to the colonies, and Littlefinger to Riverrun, thanks to a friendship his father fostered with Hoster Tully. Both of these men got their rise to fame thanks to a war. Hamilton fought in the War of Independence, and Littlefinger's father fought in the Nine Penny Kings War. The end and victory in this war helped both of them and their rise to fame, even if Littlefinger didn't participate back then because he was a kid. As you can see, the two characters are not 100% matched so far. There are some differences between them, but while the line wobbles, it seems to end up in the same spot. With that said, let's get into the elements that make them so similar. Both of these characters are ambitious and determined, not only to raise their status and power, but also to reach their goal. The goals are quite day and night, but we'll get there at some point, maybe. Littlefinger and Hamilton are very intelligent. To a degree, in many occasions, they are the smartest person in the room, and this intelligence helps both of them in manipulating situations, through deceit in the case of Littlefinger and oratory for Hamilton, or the other way around. You see, all these abilities make both of them very charismatic individuals that can win the trust of even their doubters. Of course, doubters they have many, and haters even more so, but both are highly intelligent and skilled at navigating complex social and political landscapes. Through determination and ambition, both manage to elevate their status. Littlefinger becomes the master of the coin, and Hamilton becomes US Treasury Secretary. You see, both of them end up working with money, and they end up being pretty good at their job. So that's interesting in its own right. But they are good to the point they reach some of their goals. Hamilton creates his national financial system, including the assumption of state debts, a national bank, and a stable currency, and more implications from the federal government. And Littlefinger, on the other hand, fills up his pockets and drives the Seven Kingdoms into debt and destabilizes them. To the point that at the start of the series, when Eddard Stark takes the role of Hand of the King, the crown is in debt 6 million, 3 of which they are in debt to Tywin Lannister. What Hamilton and Littlefinger managed to do from this economic standpoint is quite impressive. Let's be honest, more so in the case of Hamilton, since we have seen the likes of Littlefinger do that in multiple countries. But that's besides the point. Both of them have taken immense risk to reach their goals. Hamilton even found his death at 47 in a duel, and Baelish might be close to finding his own at the hands of another. Now only if Martin would just finish his books. But don't worry, we have the abysmal last season of the show to see that death, horrible as it was. Now, this next part is a little bit more iffy, since it's based on the Hamilton play rather than the life and letters of Alexander Hamilton. The play came out in 2015, and the last book we ever got was 2011. But the trope of settle for the sibling is used in both cases, and I think it's interesting to talk about it. In the play, we see Hamilton settle for his wife, Eliza, but there are obvious implications that Angelica is the one that got away, the one that he really loves, because they are on the same foot intellectually. If we look at Littlefinger, we see the same trope being used. He loves Catelyn, the Karen in the north, but he ends up sleeping, giving a child that is unfortunately aborted, and eventually marrying crazy Lysa Arryn. This doesn't much fit in with the real Alexander Hamilton that isn't known to have an affair with his sister-in-law. Apparently they had a close relationship. Both of them, Angelica and Hamilton, are known as being flirtatious, even to the point where Angelica writes to her sister Eliza to do as the old Romans and just share Hamilton, but that was probably more a joke between sisters. A strange one indeed, but who are we to judge? Going back to the topic at hand, there is something to be found in history and the play though regarding this settle for the sibling trope. Angelica ends up marrying John Church. In the play it's done out of duty, but in real life she ends up eloping with him because her father didn't approve of the marriage, presumably. The play's portrayal is very reminiscent of the Karen in the North, Catelyn, marrying Ned out of duty. What with Ned's brother, getting killed by the Mad King. Which is an interesting aspect in a theme that's found in both the play and the books and the show. It's interesting nonetheless. But don't think of Hamilton as being squeaky clean, let's be honest. Hamilton had no problem doing hatchet jobs on Washington's political opponents, and it's presumed by some historians that he played as a double agent and even masterminded the New Borough conspiracy so Congress could pass the bill he wanted. Which is no different than Littlefinger doing his political plays and things ending up his way. Hamilton also has an interesting relationship with religion in that he has quotes like this: "Men are rather reasoning than reasonable animals, for the most part governed by impulse of passion." It's kinda clear that many times Hamilton saw religion as a weapon that needs to be used. And when you compare this with how Littlefinger uses it and, well, his whole chaos is a ladder thing, you see that they have many similarities that one might not think of at first when looking at these two. Nevertheless, if you reached the end, please like and subscribe so I know to do more videos like this. And let me know in the comments what you think about this comparison. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm looking forward to reading them. Thank you very much.